Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juan, I am Just One Reader, and today I will be doing the Finally Fall book tag. That's why I am wearing my favorite scarf, even though it's incredibly sunny and warm here in Mexico City. This tag was created by Elena from Tall Tales, and the first question is, in fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. Swamplandia by Karen Russell was my favorite novel from 2016 that I read in 2016. Originally, I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, but the more I think about it, the more it grows on me, and it has impacted me like very few other books have. It is an astounding feat of imagination and technique. The writing is beautiful and lush and rich. It's magical realism, but I would not tell you to shy away from it or to avoid it if you don't like magical realism. I would say go ahead, try this one, even if you don't like magical realism. This is just a poignant, heartbreaking, and very beautiful story about growing up and loss and the human condition. But the setting, which is what this question is all about, the settings that she paints in this novel are just outlandish, bizarre, but at the same time they feel very much like our own world, just with a slight but ominous twist. Question number 2. Nature is beautiful, but it's also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And I think immediately of The Enchanted by Renee Denfield. This is a book that I read a couple of years ago. I don't really remember that much plot-wise about it, but what I do remember is that it's both beautiful and very, very sad and heartbreaking. It's kind of uplifting at places, but it really is about it's about prisoners who are on death row, and it's about they're trying to escape. You could say it's about their experience, and so it's very heartbreaking, but it's incredibly beautiful. And the way that she expresses herself, the way that she uses language to tell this story, it feels almost magical. It's amazing. And this is one of those booktube darlings that I feel like everybody in here has already read. Maybe I was kind of late to the party because I read it I read it like 2 or 3 years ago, so I was kind of late to the party. But I still feel like if some people haven't read this book, they are really missing out. And it's a very short book, so there's really no reason not to read it. Question 3 is, fall is back to school season. So share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. So I chose my favorite nonfiction, which is kind of a nerdy, dorky answer, but who cares? This is Harry, A History by Melissa Anelli, and this is the true story of a boy wizard, his fans, and life inside the Harry Potter phenomena. I read this when I was part of the Harry Potter phenomena. Well, I still am, but you know, when this was published, when the 7th book in the Harry Potter series came out, or was coming out, or had just come out. So when I read this, it just gave me a lot of insights into this world that I was living in, but more about it. It's a fabulous book. It's so entertaining, so funny, and so interesting. And if you are a Harry Potter fan, a hardcore fan, if you haven't read this, this has some really interesting information that maybe you don't know about. Question number 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. So, name a fictional family or friend group that you would like to be a part of. So I chose 2 answers for this. These are very different books, genres, characters, everything, but both of these answers have incredibly tight, beautiful friendships at their core. So the first answer is It by Stephen King, which is maybe not the type of answer that you would expect for this question, but it is. It has an amazing group of friends, the losers. At its core, it's really all about them. This is the book that I am currently reading right now, and honestly, what I am enjoying so much about this book and what is making it be one of my favorite books of the year so far is that it's about that. It's about their relationship. So yeah, there's a lot of scary monsters and very creepy things in here, but what I am really taking out from this experience is the friendship. And the second answer to this question is very different. I chose the Sally Lockhart Quartet by Philip Pullman. These are books that I am always trying to get people to read because a lot of people haven't heard of them, a lot of people haven't read them, and if you are one of those people, you are missing out. Okay, you have to try this. These are foolproof. You will like these books, or you will love them, but you will at least like them and enjoy them. So these are 4 books. They are, I guess you could say they are right there between YA and adult fiction, but it doesn't matter. If you don't like YA, like me, still read them. If you don't like adult literature and you only read YA, still read them. Regardless of what genre or what age group you read, these are amazing. And there are 4 books in the series. These are my Spanish copies, but I will tell you the titles in English. The first one is The Ruby in the Smoke. The second one is The Shadow in the North. The third one, which is the biggest one, is The Tiger in the Well. And the fourth one, which has more of a historical aspect to it, is The Tin Princess. They are Victorian thrillers, all of them. They are amazing, and the characters have the most amazing friendship, and they just back each other up. They're just amazing books all around. Just go and read them, please. Question 5 is, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. Now, I didn't want to waste a lot of time with this question because it could take me forever, and I would much rather talk about some books instead of just showing you colorful spines. So I just came up with 3 books, 3 spines, 1 yellow, 1 orange, and 1 red, and that's it. These are all books that I haven't read, but that I have in my TBR and that I'm really looking forward to reading. So if you can tell me something about them, I would much appreciate that, sir. I chose Lionel Shriver's We Need to Talk About Kevin. For orange, I chose Weird Things Customers Say in Bookstores by Jen Campbell, which I don't know why I haven't read. And for red, ta-da, I chose The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. Moving on to question number 6. Fall is a perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. So I chose The Green Mile by Stephen King, which is one of my favorite books by Stephen King. And if I think about it, it's just one of my favorite books in general. And he uses a very interesting, sort of special writing technique with storytelling in here. He has a protagonist who is the narrator, so he is a first-person narrative throughout the story. And we know right from the very beginning of the book that he is telling us this story of what happened in this prison. And he just tells a story, and at times you kind of forget that he's there, that he's the protagonist and the narrator. You kind of forget. But when it comes to the ending of the book, Stephen King just does something. He sort of shifts the narrative. He does something. I don't know if I could explain what it is, but he changes something so that when you read the last sentences, in particular the last sentence of the book, everything sort of changes and you sort of realize what's going on, and it just hits you in the heart like a shock, like an electroshock. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite endings of any book. The movie, I think, has the same ending, but the book just does it even better. Question 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. So I really recommend Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. In case you haven't read it, this is another one of those kind of booktube darling books. A lot of people have read it this year. It came out in English, I think, this year or last year, so it's very it's kind of buzzed right now. It's hyped, and it is dark, creepy. It's very weird, very bizarre. It just creeps under your skin. It's really interesting and magical. And by the end of it, you're not really sure you understand what happened, but it's just an awesome experience. It's really short. You can read it in one sitting. Question 8. The days are getting colder. So name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. So I chose The Secret of Platform 13 by Eva Ibbotson. This is one of my favorite books from when I was a child growing up, and I recently reread it this year, and it's just heartwarming. It's just a fun, light, beautiful experience about friendship and about, courage, and it's just delightful from beginning to end. So if you're feeling a little bit under the weather or not very well, this will cheer you up, absolutely. And finally, question number 9, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you would like to return to. So I have 2 answers again, because I can never make up my mind, can I? So I have 2 answers. One of them is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is a book that I have only read once, but it immediately became one of my favorite books. It is fantastic. It is exactly the type of storytelling style story that I love. It's absolutely perfect for me. This is one of those books that feel like they were made for me, like custom made for me. And I've only read it once, so I would love to read it in the future, in the near future. And the other book that I chose for this question is a book that is not one of my favorites, but it's a book that I think I should reread because I think I could appreciate it much more than I did back when I read it. So I'm talking about The Lord of the Rings. I read this trilogy when I was around 14 or 15 years old, so it's been more than 10 years since I read it. I don't really remember that much about the books. I know I really love the movies, but I also remember that I enjoyed the books, even though I felt the writing was not particularly to my taste, to my liking, but I still want to reread it and see if I appreciate it more and if I can take more things out of it now that I have a better grasp of the language. And that is it. That is the Finally Fall book tag. I'm going to tag everybody who is watching this video and hasn't done it. I know that a lot of people are doing it right now, so I'm not going to tag anyone in particular, but if you are watching this and you haven't done it, please consider yourself tagged. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.